All right, we're doing lesson 16-1, classifying triangles. One triangle is shown below. Draw 5 more triangles with different properties. Next to each triangle, list the properties, such as 2 sides, 1 right angle, 3 acute angles, and so on. Work with a partner to solve this problem. So all triangles have 2 names. They all have 2 names. One name is going to be, it's the side name, and one is going to be the angle name. So in this triangle that's shown in the image, we have 2 equal sides. So that has 2 equal sides. When a triangle has 2 equal sides, we call it isosceles. And it has angles. All the angles are less than 90 degrees, so we call it acute. So this one is an acute isosceles triangle. Acute is the angle name. Isosceles is the side name. So let's take a look at some other isosceles triangles. We can have an isosceles triangle that has an obtuse angle, which is greater than 90 degrees. And we know it's greater than 90 degrees because if we take a piece of paper and stick the corner in there, we know it's going to be bigger than a corner of a piece of paper. So this would be an obtuse is the angle name, and isosceles is the side name. We can have an isosceles right triangle. So we'll call this a right that's supposed to be equal sides there, a right isosceles. And we have the acute isosceles. So there's 3 right there. Then we can come on over here and we will do a scalene. We have is another name, and a scalene is going to be 3 sides of different length. And this one we're going to call it a right because we have a right angle, scalene. And we can do let's see, we can do anything else I want to do here. We have the obtuse, the isosceles, and the scalene. So scalene is going to be all sides of different length. Right is going to have a right triangle in it. Isosceles has 2 sides that are the same. And I know, I forgot the last one. So my last one will be all sides are equal. We call that an equilateral. Equilateral. And we'll call this an equilateral acute triangle because all sides are less than 90. We can have an equilateral, we can't have an equilateral obtuse triangle. So those are some examples of some of the angles and triangles we're going to be looking at. So we have a right angle, right isosceles. Do we have that? Yep, we got that one. We have isosceles, right isosceles, isosceles acute. Yes, we have that. We have obtuse, scalene. Let's see, do we have that one? Right, scalene, equilateral, acute. Well, we'll show you some more in the next activity. And all those vocabulary words were reviewed on the vocabulary pages. And here we have the definitions. They can be classified by their sides and their angles. So we've got equilateral, isosceles, equilateral, all sides are the same length, isosceles, 2 sides the same length, and scalene, no sides the same length. So that would be its side name. And then for the angle name, we have, if it has a right angle in it, it's called a right triangle. If it has all three angles less than 90 degrees, it's acute. And if it has one angle that's more than 90 degrees, it's obtuse. And here's another really important fact. If you add up the total measurement of all three angles, you are always going to get 180 degrees. Oops. Here we go. And when we go on to the next page, come on, computer. Can a right triangle have an obtuse angle? Why or why not? Think about the math. So if the sum of all angles of a triangle, angle A, angle B, and angle C is always going to equal 160 degrees. If one of the angles is more than 90 degrees, so we have 180 minus 90, because can a right angle have an obtuse angle? So if we have the total measurement of the sum of the interior angles of triangle is 180 degrees. If we take out the right triangle, we're going to be left with 90 degrees. So that means the other two angles, there's our 90-degree angle. The other two angles are going to have to equal 90 degrees. And to be obtuse, you have to be bigger than 90 degrees. So that is a no. An obtuse angle is greater than 90 degrees. So you can't do that, because these two guys added together equal 90 degrees. You can't make them more than 90 degrees. Then it won't work. So that's a no. Can an equilateral triangle have only two sides of equal length? No, because the definition of an equilateral triangle is all sides are equal. So if it's two sides of equal length, then it's an isosceles triangle. In 3 and 4, classify each triangle. So we're going to look for the side and the angle name. So if I look at this one, all three sides are the same, so we call that equilateral. That's its side name, equilateral. I don't know why they have to be so big. And the angle name, let's look at the angles. We've got 60, 60, 60. Those are all less than 90 degrees, so that's an equilateral acute triangle. And this other guy over here, when I look at the sides, two sides are the same, so we call that isosceles, because there's two sides that are the same, 7 inches and 7 inches. It has a right angle, and I know that because there is a little corner icon drawn in there to tell the reader that that is a right angle. I'm going to go down a little bit here and do a little bit more quick classification. Number 5, two sides are equal, so we call that isosceles. Spell it right, isosceles. And I've got a 75 degree, a 75, and a 30 degree. Those are all less than 90 degrees, so those are called acute angles. If the angle's less than 90 degrees, it's acute. Greater than 90 degrees, it's called obtuse. For number 6, I can see I've got a right angle. That's my angle name, because I can see that right there. My sides are all different, so we call that a scalene right. Number 7, all sides are the same, so that's an equilateral. And all the angles are under 90, so equilateral acute. Number 9, two sides are the same, so that's isosceles. And I have one angle greater than 90 degrees, so that's an isosceles obtuse. Number 9, all sides are different, so that's a scalene, different lengths. And there's a right triangle right there, so that's a scalene right. Number 10, two sides are the same, isosceles, and all the angles are less than 90 degrees, so that's acute. You can work on the homework practice page for some more practice.